Hi everyone, this is Marianne from Revealing Light Tarot, Astrology and Spirituality. How are we all today? Wherever you are in the world when you're watching, a huge shout out to you. So I promised I would look at the astrology of the full moon, actually super full moon in Sagittarius on the 14th of June. It is at 23 degrees 24. And I've pulled up a Washington chart, as is my I guess, focus in a way at this time, and of course Ukraine. And we'll also look at how both of these events are playing out. But first to the Washington chart, it's quite, I guess, unique in a way because it contains what is known in astrology as a T-square. That is one of the most volatile and I guess conflicting type of astrological patterns that you will see. Think of it as, conflict, or supercharged tensions, conflicts, things to work out, battles, literally cosmic battles to be fought. So let's pull up that chart and just have a look here. And, okay, so let's just stop that for a minute. Sorry, it's not giving me the right answers here. Now we're good to go. Okay, so there's a lot in this chart and I can't cover everything, but the thing, always look at a chart intuitively when I first pull a chart up, before I look at what planets are in which houses and what the aspects will be the red lines and the blue lines and also that green line. Before I look at any of that and the conjunctions, there's so much, as I said, you will notice most of the action is taking place in this top half of the chart. We are really working on big issues. And if you spiritually, cosmically, collectively, these are huge issues that we're working through, and they will ultimately take us to new destinations. If you haven't seen my last reading, just take a quick look at the oracle cards that came up in the first part of that reading, because that's kind of like what's in this chart. Now, as I said, full moon, I've cast this over Washington, D.C. It looks like it's 7:51 a.m. corresponding to Greenwich Mean Time, which is 11:51 for the eclipse. So let's just take a look here. Now, we have here the big standout. As soon as you look at this chart, you will see this red triangle. What on earth does that mean? Is it a good thing or is it a bad thing? Well, it depends what your perspective is. We have conflict and challenges in our lives to propel us forward. People want an easy life by really being putting their head in the sand, and my experience is rarely is life easy when you do that. You really do have to confront and work through things and find the lessons. It's hard work, isn't it? Well, guess where this moon falls? It's falling over Washington in Sagittarius in the 6th house, which of course is shared with Virgo in this particular chart. So the full moon in Sagittarius in the 6th house. 6th house is all about working things out, doing the work. And Sagittarius takes us forward. Now, this Sagittarius is a mutable sign, as is Pisces, as is Gemini. That's when you get your T-square. So, full moon in Sagittarius in the 6th house. What work do we have to do? What sacrifices do we need to make? And you see that all across the world as we keep helping Ukraine to, I guess, take on and vanquish the invader, Vladimir Putin, the invader, who thinks it's okay to invade a neighbouring country, try and take away their sovereignty, steal their food, steal their produce, steal their grain, hold the world to ransom, cause massive inflation via whether it's energy prices or food prices, or potentially cause famine in some countries, particularly the African continent, who rely on Ukraine and Russian grain to meet their food needs, to feed their people. Okay to cause that. Okay to blockade the Black Sea. But I have had some viewers say the West shouldn't be giving Ukraine so many weapons because, you know, diplomacy is the way. Well, you know, you don't have diplomacy with someone like Vladimir Putin. You turn your back, you put your head in the sand next time he's coming for your country or whatever. This is a person, a dictator, a totalitarian, a warmonger, somebody who thinks it's okay to bomb civilians. So please don't tell me about putting your head in the sand. This isn't the time. You won't be able to anyway. Moon in Sagittarius mutable sign. So Sagittarius is at its best all about the lessons. It's all about the learning. It's all about the higher mind, the philosophy, the optimism. Sagittarius is a very optimistic sign. And as a mutable sign, it is just fire sign. It is the spark that goes ahead, that goes with the wind and finds a new destination for Aries, Aries being the cardinal fire sign. Then Leo will do the work. Full moon in Sagittarius. Opposite the sun in Gemini. Gemini, of course, can be, like Virgo, all about the details. But Gemini also rules the communications, outward, inward thoughts, words, in the 12th house. Guess what? Every time we open up social media and see the January 6th information committee hearings, whether also gun reform, every time we look at Matthew McConaughey, the American actor who spoke so, I don't have a word for it, movingly, about the massacre of children in Uvalde, his hometown. Every time we look at these things, every time we see a report around the attempts to overturn an election, every time we see Putin, if you're listening, we see you. We see what you're doing. This is in the 12th house. So our collective, our unconscious. When I first opened up to this reading, bear with me, please, through it, I saw somebody trying to dig a hole to bury their gold. But water kept flowing into that hole. And as fast as they dug, the water kept preventing them from burying their gold. And I think there's a lesson here as we move toward, and I'm going to give Jessica Adams, the astrologer, a shout out. She has a very good article on Pluto moving out of Capricorn into Aquarius. That image is kind of really what I'm seeing. This water is our emotions. You can see Ceres in Cancer, there in the 12th house, our emotions, and Cancer is a cardinal sign. There's, as I said, so much in this chart, and we have Vesta here. Vesta up in the 9th house. Well, of course, Sagittarius rules the 9th house. Learning, optimism. What do we need to do? What is the higher knowledge we need to have? The big picture. What is the big picture? Well, you know, I guess I've got some counsel for those people that are trying to bury their gold. We kind of are on to you. Okay, Neptune in Pisces. Let's get back to the T-square. So much in this chart. I don't even know where to begin, but I'll begin with the T-square. So a T-square is formed. Just think cosmic battle. biggest volatility going in astrology in this chart. We have the moon opposite the sun. That's what we have here with this full moon. Full moons are also about endings, looking back on what we've learned and ending before we get the new moon when we start to set our intentions. So we have this opposition, big opposition between the moon and the sun. The moon being the soul, the emotions, the feminine, the sun being the life force, the masculine, and the, I guess, that driving energy, life-affirming energy. We've got big tensions, big oppositions here. They're pulling away from one another. So think Roe v. Wade. Think gun reform, the gun-toting, I guess, southern, I shouldn't lump everybody into that. And we have the mothers who are heartsick. Our hearts won't be silenced. Our hearts will not be silenced. Whether you're male or female, our hearts won't be silenced. And there is a huge battle and opposition going on there. So the old way and the new way, I guess I prefer to express it that way. The old Pluto and Capricornian energy versus the new Pluto in Aquarius energy. So, and you can see this lovely little harmonious, the blue lines of the harmonious energies, the red lines of the conflicts and the opposition. Harmonious energy between the moon and Saturn in Aquarius. And of course, this trine over to the sun in Gemini. There's a lot we've got going for us in this really what is a perilous time. But back to the T-square. So we have this opposition between the moon and the sun here. The moon in the 6th house, work, also sacrifice, also health. We're talking health of our democracies here. Health of our world in so many ways. And that's in a way, depending on which country you're living in, but for someone like me in Australia, I do have that new start with the change of government, and I have much to look forward to. And we have here this sun in the 12th house, which is our collective. Also, it's ruled by Neptune, so there's a huge emphasis here on psychicness. So a T-square is formed when you get this opposition here, and then you get both the sun and the moon squaring one planet. What is that one planet? Now here is the I guess the critical tipping point. Where is the critical tipping point in this cosmic battle that this T-square represents? It is in Neptune in Pisces. Where is Neptune in Pisces? They're in Sagittarius, the house that's normally ruled by Sagittarius. They're in the 9th house, sitting alongside Juno and Vesta. Vesta, home, security, women. The Neptune in Pisces can also tell us about something is coming into form. Neptune in Pisces can also spell delusion and illusion. But here in the 9th house, which is normally ruled by Sagittarius, we have the learning. So to me, when I saw this, yes, this is gun reform. And the NRA the NRA funded politicians on the Republican aisle may try to bury their gold. But the moon is prepared, the female, the mothers, those men who are supporting gun reform, sensible gun reform. There is no need for an AR-15 in the majority of circumstances. Okay, so let's have a look here. So we have here this T-square with Neptune in Pisces in the 9th house. I prefer to think that along with the illusion and delusion, because the other image I got was the Knight of Swords, very much thundering, picking up the sword and thundering toward a destination as yet unknown. The other thing that we have to dispel the illusion and delusion is the truth. And if you've watched my readings, that Ace of Swords, the Knight of Swords, very frequently comes along. So the more the truth can come out, the more that people like Matthew McConaughey and others get up and talk, it's all being played back on social media. We have a chance to influence the collective here. We have a chance to, for these truths to embed themselves into the collective unconscious. And I think we're going to heal as a result. Why do I think that? Because Chiron's up there in the 10th house of public image, the 10th house of achievement. Chiron is the wounded healer, Aries, the identity. What is wounded in our identity is so starkly shown in the school shooters or in any shooter that takes a gun, in this case an automatic rifle that's capable of acting like a rapid fire machine gun. Okay, there is this wound that we have to confront. So Jupiter in and Mars in Aries at this time is calling for action to heal the wound. That's why I know, along with my card readings, that some gun reform, it won't go far enough. That's for another election. But some gun reform, particularly raising the age to 21 for access of these automatic rapid fire AR-15s and AK-15s, raising that age to 21, I can pretty much say to you is most likely a foregone conclusion and has more success at this time than any other. That's, is that enough? Of course not. Hopefully it will be accompanied by red flag laws. I think those two things have a great chance of success of getting through. The further reform comes later. Now, why are we all listening? Why is the average, we call them Joe Blow, that's just a colloquialism in Australia, Joe and Jill Blow, the average person, why are they even bothering to bring their head up out of the sand and look as these people are digging to bury their gold and the water won't allow them to bury that treasure? Why on earth are we even sticking our heads up? Well, that's because we can all see, feel, know, whether that's via social media or our intuition. Neptune in Pisces is working for us again in the 9th house, learning, because we all sense and know that that our stability is on the guillotine. Our stability is shaken to its foundations. Our sustainability, our way of living, our sustainable, secure way of living going forward is at threat here over a number of factors. But this chart is over Washington. Think Roe v. Wade, think gun reform, think January the 6th, think attempted coup. Yes, it is an attempted coup. So we have here that thankfully was not successful. North Node in Taurus is working hard for us at this time. Taurus being determined and stable, determined to get what? To get security and stability. And we have Venus here, the self, the values of the self, the values of the planet, the values of our relationships with others. We care about our families. We want our families to be safe. Uranus, rebellion, change. And we have Pallas Athena, justice. Mercury's giving, I think it's just inside the Gemini, just inside Gemini, and that's in the 11th house. The 11th house is groups, networks, the collective, the society, in other words. It's almost like this chart, to me, as I said, shows us what I would call a cosmic intelligence, a spiritual intelligence, God, if you like. It's like that we've got this, the Good Shepherd. It's like, we're working toward our freedom from what holds us back, freedom from, if you want to put it spiritually, the lessons of the soul that we all agreed to when we came in individually and collectively at this time. So, I am a Sagittarius. I am optimistic by nature. I hope I curb my fanatical tendencies, because that's the negative side of Sagittarius. They can become a bit fanatical, and they don't, they call a spade, of course. That's another colloquialism, meaning we tell it how it is. Sagittarius, though, is all about the journey. It's all about the passion and motivation to take the step forward, no matter how hard that will be. We will go ahead and find the way, the spark for Aries to light the fire. That's why I know there's a great deal of healing going on at the moment. Now, I'm going to close this down because I could talk for a lot longer on this chart, but I'm not going to. I'm going to say that in the US at the moment, as they have this cosmic battle for their democracy, I think they were always, in the scheme of things, in the big picture, were always going to show us how this battle is fought. Is there an outcome here? Yeah, I think that this chart feels like we are heading in the right direction. And again, I quote my good friend who's no longer with us, used to always say that on any given day, if you can say, I am heading in the right direction, then that is an achievement that you should take, that you should own. Am I heading in the right direction? In the US, although it is volatile, although it is uncertain, I am optimistic for change in the longer term, and this is we are living the circumstances of change at this time. Now, I'm going to use my Light Seers Tarot because it is oh, now that's interesting. I thought I saw something move there. Maybe I did. Maybe I did see something move. I wouldn't be surprised because I get a great deal of help from Spirit when I do these readings. I'm going to use the Light Seers Tarot by Chris Ann. It is one of the most, light-filled decks I own, and it's time to use it with Sagittarius. The full moon, super full moon is Sagittarius. Now, Justice has just fallen out. Okay, let's ask what are we likely to see? Now, in terms of justice, I think, all of this is building to the midterms. All of this is building to 2024. Of course, from March 2023, we have Pluto moving out of Capricorn, that old energy, into Aquarius. People, as I think Jessica Adams described it, people power. The heart needs to be heard. The heart needs to be heard. It will not be suppressed any longer. Okay, so moving into that really strong Cancerian energy, and Aries is there to build the fire. Okay, that's where the North nodes move. I think, is that where they move next? Yes, after Taurus, stability, Scorpio, letting go, transformation, letting go of what no longer serves us, South node in Scorpio. Unfortunately, we expect these things to be easy, but they never are. but burying your head in the sand doesn't guarantee you anything. Working through it, I know, as a flawed human being, I know that the best way to enter some kind of nirvana, some kind of peace, some kind of contentment, some kind of happiness, some kind of satisfaction in terms of your inner values, the best way to do that is to take it on, do the work, learn the lessons, and move forward. So, what do we need to learn from this super full moon in Sagittarius? Page of Swords. Yeah, the truth, the light bulb moments, you know. I guess, you know, if I could see the big picture, if I could look down on everybody, you've got a hell of a lot of light bulb moments going on at this time. The Page of Swords are crossing from one land mass to another. This is a bridge. The truth is our bridge, but it's only a page. Only, I've got to stop saying that. Page can be young people as well. Young people wanted change in Australia. Young people will want change in America. Young people all across the world. Look at the Ukrainians, those that are fighting for their sovereignty. Look at the Russians who are resisting. It is young people. The Queen of Wands here is the other signifier card. Our passion and our motivation to keep going is what is needed. This is Sagittarius here. Sagittarius's card. The Queen of Wands. Women. Roe v. Wade. Gun reform. Women are playing their part. And in fact, young people and women overturned the previous government in Australia after feeling they weren't listened to. So these people who are trying to bury their gold, the water keeps rushing in. The Emperor, control. So the accent is on authority. The accent is on who is operating the levers here. And what are they doing? Which levers are they pulling? There is discernment via our intuitive insight, Neptune in Pisces, in the 9th house. What sort of leadership do we want? Things getting out of our control. Someone wrote, the US is no longer a civil society. Well, I guess where children are being mowed down in schools, you could say that that statement is true. Four of Swords. We've got ill health. Remember, Sagittarius is also in that 6th house, is also about the health. The health of what? The health of our democracies, the health of our earth, the health of our world. You know, I feel like saying to these old Capricornian energies, get with the program. There's work for you to do. Get with the program. Those old Capricornian dominant masculine energies. Get with the program. There is a new definition of strength here. The Knight of Pentacles, Taurus energy, North Node in Taurus, in that 11th house. You know, inflation being pushed up by the war in Ukraine. Putin knowing very well that the levers that he's pushing are designed to create division in the world, division within the EU, division within the US. But we then have to say to ourselves, I don't really think that Putin is a good person. I don't really think, I suspect, when I look at those images of bombed schools in Ukraine, I don't really think he can be trusted. Control. Who is in control? And wanting more for the people. I'm pretty sure if I cast a chart over Russia, it would say these similar things. 10 of Pentacles in the immediate future. So we have the families here, we have the legacies. What sort of a society do we want to create? What for our children? What sort of a society are we leaving for them? It can also be dark money. That can also be the oligarchs, those that are seeking to bury their money. The world is in the here and now. This is important because it means that we are facing at this time the end of something and the beginning of something else. What are we facing here? It's a very karmic card. It's the last card in the tarot, and it talks about ending old cycles and beginning new. What is the card or the environment around these endings and beginnings? It is the Star. Optimism, hope, Sagittarius energy. Well, not with that card, but the things that Sagittarius stand for. So we have this ending of the old, beginning of the new, and we've got hope. I never, ever underestimate this card. This card came up when the attempted coup leader, Trump, was first elected in the US. This card kept coming up and I kept drawing it. People kept saying, well, you know, you need a bit more than hope. Now you have your January the 6th committee. You have so many truths emerging. Hope. We're not quite there yet. Sevens are coming up. The 7 of Wands in the hopes and fears, defending oneself. Again, that's in that astrology chart. Defending our security, defending our stability. So we have the final outcome is the Sagittarius card. And that is temperance, balance, moderation, and temperance. You would be a fool to think that people don't prefer this energy in these kind of times that we were living in, that we are living in. No, that's a nice way to put it. I hope it is. Hope I can say in a year or two those were very volatile times, but temperance was the outcome. Temperance, you can see, is the moon, the sun, and the balance within, the opposition, Sagittarius, Gemini. The Hanged Man, pausing, looking at things in a different way. Looking at things in a different way. Now, Neptune in Pisces can also be, as I said, illusion and delusion, can also be deception as well in that 9th house. You're going to hear that people are going to try and blame leaders for what? For the things that they stuffed up in the first place, for the violence and the, I guess, the danger that they created. I even have people defending the war criminal. His crimes are going to be on par, if not worse, than Hitler's in hindsight. So someone defending Hitler. Are you mad? Are you sincerely mad? The 5 of Wands, again, division, stoking division. So we have here the temperance, clarified by the Hanged Man, clarified by the 5 of Wands. You know the environment that change is happening in. So we have here the Chariot. It is proceeding at a huge pace, this change. We are walking away from so much that is no longer serving us. And we are coming together in that Aquarius energy. This is water energy here, but Aquarius is the water bearer that brings what? The water through the air to replenish, to nourish, the logic, what's best for the collective. coming together, the threes, the group, the trios. I should go clockwise. But first, we have this Piscean, Neptunian energy. Which choice are you going to make? And the High Priestess. Wow. It's like I got the astrology chart and the cards. Now, before I go, I just want to look via the Thoth Tarot at what is occurring in Ukraine. They're waiting desperately for new weaponry to be even competitive in Donbass in eastern Ukraine. They're waiting for these new weapons. They're getting them. Wait is excruciating. They're holding their own in eastern Ukraine after Putin made inroads there. Ukraine. Look at the size of Russia compared to Ukraine. And Ukraine is doing such a wonderful, valiant, tragic, sacrificial. All right, can these new weapons that Ukraine is getting, gosh, I'll be celebrating when they become a member of the EU. And they will. So let's have a look. Will Ukraine take back territory in the Donbass, eastern Ukraine, with the help of these new weapons? Can Ukraine take back this territory in Donbass and eastern Ukraine with these new weapons? Be interesting to see what these cards reveal. The Queen of Cups. As much as they try and bury their gold, we've got the beautiful water energy coming through. The Queen of Cups is the signifier card, and we have the Nine of Swords, cruelty. So we have here, what are we seeing? We're seeing these war crimes. I find, it's so hard to look at. Children without limbs, young men and women marrying because both of them are fighting in the trenches, literally in the trenches. And we keep seeing Vladimir Putin's cruelty. And we keep seeing their great bravery based on the love of their country. We see the wonderful support that the West, EU and US and the Baltic countries are giving Ukraine. The Sun, I asked, can they take back territory? What other energy is such a strong one as the Sun? The Moon is also illuminating, but the Sun, bright, yes card is at the foundation of the reading. The Princess of Swords again came up in or its equivalent came up, the Truth, in our other reading, the Truth coming forward. I think in this deck it is the Knight of Swords, moving forward. Across the wasteland, wielding that sword. That's in the past. And we have the Eight of Wands here, and this is swiftness. So I asked, will those new, I think they're rocket launchers, missiles, make a difference? I think Poland's just signed a big contract. God bless you, Poland, with Ukraine. And they know what it's like to be part of the old Stalinistic USSR. Poland, Ukraine, Sagittarius energy. The High Priestess and Sagittarius, these new weapons have a huge potential to change the fate of this world. The Prince of Cups in the immediate future, an offer. So we're seeing Queen of Cups, Prince of Cups. Wouldn't be surprised to see the King of Cups. That's that water flowing into the oligarch's hole they're trying to dig. Now, 10 of Swords, we've got ruin. Okay, 10 of Swords always gets pulled for Putin, ruination. It's also death. So this war is not, or this invasion is a huge high price. It's also the ending of this cruelty. So we've had the 9 and we've got the 10. The cruelty is coming to an end. The environment around, right, in the here and now is the Hanged Man. So there's no swift end to this roller coaster. Not in the here and now. Though the potential to take back territory is the 8 of Wands, swiftness. The Hanged Man, pausing what? Pausing the death. In the hopes and fears, remember the Star card, the Sword of Truth. I love that. Blue and yellow as well, the Sword of Truth, the Ace of Swords. And we have the 10. The 10. We have the Sagittarius card, the Wheel of Fortune. That's in the outcome. That's a yes card. Yes, their fortunes are changed. This new weaponry has the potential to, well, it has the potential, but it will change their fortunes. And we have the 4 of Cups. In this deck, it's luxury. Well, I guess when they need these advanced weaponry against a highly powered adversary, David and Goliath. David needs the weaponry, and it's giving them the luxury to make the change. I'm thinking they will move through this, but not without the sorrow, which is occurring every day. So, and we're hearing about it, and so at times I don't turn away from the images, because that Sun in Gemini in that 12th house there tells me, and the Sagittarian moon, the moon is the emotions as well, tells me I mustn't turn away. And I mustn't turn away from looking at actor Matthew McConaughey hold up those green Converse shoes either. I mustn't turn away from that. We have the Chariot here. So this is the underlying energy. The Chariot, the Devil and toxicity, and the 3 of Wands. So I think this is, at this time, the underlying energy talks about a lot of, well, that's more than disappointment. That's the 5 of Cups. That's sorrow, death. But in terms of winning against Putin, the chances are so high for Ukraine, particularly with the delivery of these new weapons. Now, we all need to see the invasion come to an end quickly, because we need food supply, trade supplies to keep going. Remembering Putin is using this, every cruel trick he has in his book, including starving those African countries that are for some kind of illogical reason, feel that they will benefit from being in Putin's camp. I need to ask, did those on the African continent, or in the countries within the African continent, benefit from China's gifts? No, they are now slave labour and treated very badly by the Chinese that have moved into Africa. They're being exploited, in other words. So it's decision time. Okay, I'm going to leave it there, everyone. Thanks for listening. Thanks for your beautiful donations. I just get blown away sometimes by the generosity, particularly at a time when money is tight. So thank you all for those, and thank you all for your comments, and for those that stand up every day and take their heads out of the sand. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Bye for now.